first one we've seen is the dot plot. Basically, it's organized as how often something shows up. So if we're talking about the number of Super Bowls a team has won, you could say the who's won two. You could say, I don't know, the Raiders. They won two Super Bowls. You put them there. Who's this? Not the Chargers. The Chargers won no Super Bowls. You put them right there, and so forth. You could put the Broncos won 50,000, but I don't want to count all the way to 50,000. Again, dot plot just shows how much individually each thing is appearing. The box plot. Now this is a complicated one. It's something we're gonna cover later on. There's just a bunch of vocabulary for you to understand. Don't stress about it too much. All you have to know is it's a box that's split into four different pieces. Here's piece number one. All of this is piece number one. This is piece number two. This is actually, let's write it over here. Piece number one is right here. All this area. Piece number two is this little box. Piece number three is this little box, and piece number four is this little area. Think about everything is split evenly into four different areas. All right. So just think about it that way. We'll go over the vocabulary later on. Histogram, you already know this. We measure everything in groups. We covered that in a previous lesson. And let's go over a couple of other vocabulary aspects of these distributions. So there's a histogram. We talked about this before. However, the histogram can have different shapes. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but do you see how the histogram goes like a little slide downhill? Well, this is actually has a name to it, and we call this a right tail. Why is it called a right tail? Well, do you see how it's going slowly to the right, going down, 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 down? I like to figure it as a dinosaur, like a rawr dinosaur. Little hands right there. Dinosaur with its big leg. Right there, ready to bite somebody. You see? Angry dinosaur with claws and it has little has this little, what do they call it? The back stuff. So it's like a little dinosaur, and you see how it has a tail going to the right. So when the data goes this way, it's a right tail. If the dinosaur was going on the other side with the tail this way, that would be a left tail. That's a good way. It helps me memorize it. So in this case, once again, is it left-tailed? Is the tail going this way? Is it symmetrical? It means that it's exactly the same no matter where you go. Like it's exactly in half. Or is it right tail? Is it going to the right? Well, the answer is, if we erase all the wrong ones, it's actually letter C. This case, it's right tail. Now, let's go over to the next one. Look at this. Let's look at this histogram. They're asking you, is the distribution skewed to the left? Another vocabulary word, skewed. So what does it mean, skewed? Skewed basically means it's something like, let me write it out right for you. Skewed means like it's overloaded. Overloaded. Imagine like in football, when you have the quarterback and you have a bunch of receivers on the left and only one receiver on the right. Well, this side is overloaded with receivers, so the defense would also put some defenses out there too. In this case, this is what it means. It's skewed on the left side because there's too much data on the left compared to the right. So when I say skewed to the left, there's a lot of information on the left side. When they say skewed to the right, there's a lot of information on the right side. But does that even matter in this example? Not really, because if you notice, could you easily cut it in half? Well, that's what it means, symmetrical, like we talked about it over here. It can't be folded. So when we fold it, we know it's symmetrical. So our answer is letter B. So move to the next one. Here's where I was talking about skewness. Notice here's a box plot. And I've told you in a few seconds ago how this is one section, this is another section, this is another section, and this is another section. A box plot always has four different areas. But notice how the box is not, notice this box is not exactly in the middle? Well, that's because there's some skewness going on. Which side is being overloaded with information? What do you think? Think about like the quarterback. Think about like the quarterback. Where are most of the receivers at? There are actually more receivers on the left side. This is why when you're putting, when you're putting a lot of information here, the box is getting pushed and pushed and pushed the other side, and this side is getting a little too tight because all the information is here. So when we say skewed, it means we're skewing on the left because all the information is being pushed from the left side. So would you say it's skewed to the left? Is it symmetrical or is it skewed to the right? Let's find out. It's actually the first one. Skewed to the left because that's where all the data is being pushed from. And that's basically all the little tidbits of information and vocabulary we're covering in this lesson.